U.S. Vice President Mike Pence is calling for an end to the violence in Kenosha. During his speech to the Republican National Convention last night, Pence reinforced Donald Trump's tough law and order campaign message.
So let me be clear. The violence must stop, whether in Minneapolis, Portland, or Kenosha. Too many heroes have died defending our freedom to see Americans strike each other down. We will have law and order on the streets of this country for every American of every race and creed and color.
Pence makes no direct mention of Jacob Blake and doesn't name George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, or any of the other victims of police killings that have set off months of protests. Trump gives his nomination speech tonight. He made another pop-up appearance at the convention after Mike Pence spoke. Both men and their wives went down to mingle with the crowd at Fort McHenry, where an 1812 battle inspired the writing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Few masks in these pictures, as you can see, and Mike Pence at one point appears to be close to the margins of physical distancing. Megan Fitzpatrick now with more on what the vice president had to say on the third night of the convention.
Mike Pence framing this election in November essentially as a choice between keeping your family safe or not. Some of his key comments regarding the protests, he was saying that he and President Trump support peaceful protests, not looting and violence, and that those engaging in that will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. You heard in that clip there him mention Kenosha, Wisconsin, and other cities. He told Americans that they don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement and supporting Black Americans. He said his administration has been doing both for the past couple of years and that they will continue to do so if they get another 4 years. He then did engage in these scare tactics that we've been hearing from many speakers throughout the week. We've heard the term violent mobs taking over the streets of American cities quite often, and Mike Pence used that theme as well. Take a listen to what he said about the choice Americans have to make in November.
Joe Biden would double down on the very policies that are leading to violence in America's cities. The hard truth is, you won't be safe in Joe Biden's America. And under President Trump, we will always stand with those who stand on the thin blue line, and we're not going to defund the police, not now, not ever.
And on the other issue the United States is currently grappling with right now, Heather, the pandemic. Mike Pence, who led the White House task force to respond to the global pandemic, he boasted about the administration's response, saying their actions saved an untold number of American lives. But he did acknowledge the families who were grieving, who have lost loved ones to COVID-19. But he was saying, trust Donald Trump to lead our country out of this and to continue on a path to recovery. He was saying that Democrats would essentially ruin the country. He's saying that America is at a crossroads and that this election is about choosing to either keep America America or to go down a path to radical socialism.
Megan, in addition to the vice president, last night featured many women who spoke about dealing with Trump, working with Donald Trump. How did they portray the president?
Yes, this was a theme that we heard the night before as well. They continued it last night with an appeal to women voters. There were also, again, appeals to people of color, to religious Americans, and young voters as well. And that appeal came from a young man who's 25 years old running for Congress. But the women we heard from included his press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, and of course, Kellyanne Conway, the woman that helped him win the 2016 election. Take a listen to her remarks.
A woman in a leadership role can still seem novel. Not so for President Trump. For decades, he has elevated women to senior positions in business and in government. He confides in and consults us, respects our opinions, and insists that we are on equal footing with the men.
And Kellyanne Conway, a key advisor who's leaving her job next week, Heather, but she and the others were trying to portray Trump as a caring, empathetic man. We will, of course, be hearing from him tonight, his big official acceptance speech to wrap up the convention.
That's Megan Fitzpatrick, who's been part of our team covering the Republican National Convention.